Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Dr. K's Sunday Special. Today's topic is headaches, and I want to show you a couple positive stresses that I think could help solve your headaches, and a couple negative stresses that you actually need to be performing less of and engaging less in, that I think if you do that, a lot of you will find a lot of benefit from the headaches that you're feeling. So to start off, this side of the column, again, are positive stresses. These are physical, chemical, and emotional stresses that are actually going to help with your headache symptoms. And then on the right side of the column, we have physical, chemical, and emotional stresses that are negative. These are called distresses. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to cause stress to your system. And a lot of times these three stresses are going to contribute to headaches. So I want to lay out my top three for both, and hopefully some of these overlay into your life. And if you adopt some of these recommendations, maybe you'll be able to find some help with your headaches. First up is the physical stress of head and neck alignment. For those of you that haven't seen an upper cervical chiropractor and you have headaches, I would strongly recommend that you do so. This is because head and neck alignment is very important for managing the blood flow and the cerebral spinal fluid flow that travels in and out of your head. You see, your head is connected to your neck with a tiny 2-ounce bone called the atlas bone. And if you've had a head and neck trauma in the past, if you've had a concussion, it's possible that this bone has become dislodged from its normal relationship underneath the skull and sitting on top of the neck. And what this creates is a misalignment between your head and your neck, where every time your heart beats, the blood flow that is being pumped up into the brain can be diminished, it can be altered. And the response for this, your body actually swells the vessels inside the brain to try to accept more blood. And it's that swelling of the vessels that can contribute to a lot of headaches, a lot of migraine headaches. And if you haven't had this alignment checked out before, I would strongly recommend that you do so. A negative stress that I think you need to be performing less of that might be contributing to your headaches physically is forward posture. And I talked about this in a Sunday special a couple weeks ago. And what happens is when you have forward posture, the weight of your head gets heavier and heavier and heavier the further forward that it travels. And what this causes is the muscles in the back of your neck and in your shoulders to have to carry a larger bowling ball as it travels forward of the midline. And those muscles can get very unhealthy, and they can start to develop trigger points. And these trigger points are actually going to refer pain into the head. Headaches that are caused by the neck are called cervicogenic headaches, and some estimates estimate that cervicogenic headaches account for about 60 to 70% of headaches overall. So if you have forward posture, that is rolling forward of the shoulders or forward translation of the head, I would really encourage you to start looking up and talking to some doctors or therapists about exercises and strategies that you can start to do to pull that head backwards, to pull the shoulders backwards, to get you into a normal relationship with gravity so that you don't start to develop some of these tension syndromes that are going to work its way up and cause a headache. Those are two physical stresses. Now I want to move on to chemical stresses that I think can be either causing or contributing to headaches. First up, a chemical stress that I want you to be engaging more in if you have headaches is deep breathing. This is so fundamental, but it's really for one reason only, and that is the effect that breathing has on your nervous system. You see, there's two sides of our nervous system that run automatically when we're not even thinking. And that is your sympathetic, or a lot of you have heard of the fight or flight system, and the parasympathetic, or the resting and digesting system. And there's a lot of evidence out there that supports that when you're in this fight or flight automatic or autonomic nervous system response, headaches are going to be more prevalent. Deep breathing shifts you away from the stress response, and it shifts you towards the more relaxed state. And you're going to flood your body with really relaxing and good chemicals. You're going to release tension throughout the body. You're going to slow your heart rate. You're going to lower your blood pressure. And ultimately, I've seen a lot of patients help their headaches by the simple act of deep breathing. So if you go on and look up all over the place, there's a lot of people talking about good deep breathing techniques. Wim Hof comes to mind, or diaphragmatic breathing, or sometimes it's called parasympathetic breathing. But either way, I'm not here to give you the exact technique that might be right for you, but deep breathing oxygenates your system in such a positive way that it can decrease the stress response that might be leading to your headaches. So deep breathing is a really important stress that I want you to be engaging more in. That's a positive stress or a eustress, a chemical stress for your headaches. Let's talk about a negative stress that I think is contributing to a lot of headaches nowadays, and that is mask wearing. A lot of people are walking around with masks right now, and I want you to think about the fact of what it does to your body's ability to oxygenate itself. We just talked about how important of a nutrient oxygen is, and what we didn't talk about was how toxic of a nutrient carbon dioxide is. See, what happens when you breathe, your body breathes in O2, and when it exhales, it dispels the waste product known as carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is so toxic to your body that your body actually prioritizes getting it out of the system, and it's very efficient at doing so unless you're wearing a mask. In fact, if you try to hold your breath right now and you take a deep breath in, what stops you from continuing that holding effort is not the lack of oxygen, it's actually the buildup of carbon dioxide. Your body needs to purge the carbon dioxide because of the toxic buildup that it does to the body. And it actually stresses the body in such a way that it's going to change the pH level of your blood. It's going to shift you into a more acidotic state. And all of that stress is going to contribute to your nervous system freaking out and causing a lot of headaches. So I want you to think about the carbon dioxide that the mask is accumulating when you breathe. And in fact, I want you to think about when you breathe back in, you're getting your carbon dioxide backwash without getting fresh oxygen. Again, oxygen is the very first nutrient that we intake, and it's by far the most important. In fact, those of you watching this video right now, I would venture to say that you could not make it to the end of the video without oxygen. Yet you can go without food and water, no problem. That's because oxygen is so important to our system. And when we're wearing masks, there's no debate. It's limiting our body's ability to intake oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide. And that's not to mention the accumulation of bacteria that is collecting on the inside of the mask and all the touching that's going on to your face. It's not a natural response for our body. So if at all possible, I want you to limit the mask use because of its negative effects on your body in general. But also, if you're having headaches, look no further. That could be contributing in a major way. Onto the emotional techniques. I have 2 emotional techniques, and you can notice the line going off here, and that's because both of them are positive. They're 2 aspects that I want you to be engaging more in, and I want you to limit the negativity in your mind as you think about headaches, and I want you to instead bring in more positive, bring in more light, because as you bring in light, the darkness simply will fade away. So the first emotional stress that I think you should be engaging more in if you have headaches is hope. I think it's very important that you understand that we live in a world of cause and effect. And the effect, that is your headaches, the symptoms, has a cause. You're not just born faulty. You don't just get headaches. So it's really important for you to keep the hope alive that there is a solution out there for you. You just haven't found it yet. So really take a look. This whole diagram is called a stress response diagram. And what it does is it breaks down the physical, chemical, and emotional stresses, both positively and negatively, that are contributing to how healthy or unhealthy your body is. So if you have headaches, these are just the top responses that I get all the time in my clinic that I think people with headaches could really start to change and they would see a benefit from. You might be totally different. Maybe you're already ditching the mask, right? Maybe you're already doing deep breathing techniques or fixing your forward head posture. These aren't the only causes for a headache. And it's not that it's just one. There's often such a combination of events that is occurring that is signaling and contributing to your symptom. Don't lose the hope that you can find the puzzle pieces necessary to help yourself. Don't lose the hope that there is a solution out there just because you haven't found it. You are not doomed. You are not gloomed. There is hope out there. So watch more videos of mine to maybe get some ideas. There's tons of good content out there from amazing therapists and doctors and coaches. Don't stop the search, continue the hope, and sometimes that can make the biggest difference. And then rather than going negative, I wanted to show you another positive emotional stress that I think could really help contribute to your headaches, and that is trust. I want you to trust in your body's ability to be intelligent. Once you take a step back and you look at the body's response to physical, chemical, and emotional stresses, you begin to realize that there are no mistakes. Again, we live in a world of cause and effect. And rather than thinking that your headaches are caused by bad germs or bad genes or bad luck, I want you to start trusting in the body's innate ability to heal. And as long as you provide the body with what it needs, and as long as you're making sure that the body is free of interference and free of toxins, the default is health. That's the design, right? Sickness is not the default. Health is the default. So if you're experiencing sickness, if there are symptoms like a headache that are interfering with your life, trust in the body's ability to heal and begin to find answers. Have hope that you'll find those answers. And I think if you begin to take in all of this from a larger perspective and start to look for solutions from a 30,000 foot view rather than down in the surface level of your headaches, I think you'll be a lot better off. It's not always just in the head. Sometimes it's below the head, in the head and neck region. Sometimes it's innately in your nervous system response to stresses overall. And there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of opportunities out there to heal. You just need to have the hope to find it and the trust in your body's ability to do what it is designed to do once you find that solution. So I hope this helps out quite a bit with headaches. I'll be doing more conditions in the future and breaking down my physical, chemical, and emotional stresses using the stress diagram that I think would help out quite a bit. But I want you to take this all in, run with it. Let me know, drop some comments in the comment section if this is helpful at all, or maybe how things like this have helped you in the past. I really appreciate all the feedback. And until next time, this has been another episode of Dr. K's Sunday Special.